Hello and welcome to Rev Sports. I'm Gargi Rao. And joining me today for the show is Shomik Chakraborty from Chennai and Boria Mujumdar. And when it comes to the test between India and Bangladesh, the play has been called off for today. Around 4:30 it was called off. And today was a total Rishabh Pant and Shubman Gill show. Two centuries from both of them. Shomik, I'd like to go to you first. You saw the hellfire that Shubman and Rishabh reigned, and we also saw Rishabh Pant's special one-handed six. Tell us about how the atmosphere was around and what you saw and what you experienced from the two young guns from our team.
Okay, before we start, Gagi, we have a news from the CSK camp about retention. Shall we start with that, or we start
No,
with
no,
test
absolutely.
match?
No, no, no. The breaking news always takes precedence. Shomik, tell us. We will tweet also. Please tell us.
Okay, okay. So I'm starting with the CSK camp, and I have been talking to my sources, and I have been talking to the insiders to be precise. And the news is, if the BCCI or the IPL comes up with a retention policy of 3-2, three retention and two rights to match, then Chennai have shortlisted five players. Sort of, they have shortlisted five players whom they would like to retain or would like to buy back to RTM. The players are Rituraj Gaikwad, Ravindra Jadeja, Shi, uh, Shivam Dubey, MS Dhoni, and Mathisa Patirana. This is their initial plans, but there is a catch. There is a rider that Dhoni will not Dhoni will not block anything more than 5 or 6 crores. If the lowest retention amount is either 5 or 6 crore, or is it, if the BCCI is going back to the policy they had until 2021, that once a player is retired for more than 5 years, he would be treated as an uncapped player, then Dhoni will take a call. So Dhoni has kept it as sort of open-ended, saying that he will take a final call after BCCI officially announces the retention policy. But this
So,
is
so
the
Shomik,
this
one
is
minute.
the
One minute. So to get it clear, Dhoni will block only the lowest category of the retention money. That's what you are saying.
exactly,
This is
exactly,
big news. So the
exactly.
news that Shomik is breaking is whatever the lowest category of the retention money, Gargi, whether it's 5 crores, 6 crores, whatever it is, that is what MS Dhoni will be taking. So clearly, that big amount of money will not be spent on MS Dhoni, and we will see. But this is interesting news. The five players, Rohan tweet that also, that an MS Dhoni will be the lowest category of the retention. Player structure is what Dhoni and CSK have agreed on. So that is exactly what Shomik is breaking. Yes, Shomik. More before Gargi and I take over from you.
So this is, and I was sort of asking who are, I mean, the CSK insiders, whether Dhoni would be continuing next year. So as of now, the news is he is willing to continue. He is ready for one last dance. He wants to make CSK the champions before signing off. That is his that is his thought process. This year that didn't happen, and he wants to sign off in style at Chepak, which is his spiritual home. So this is the thought process. But then again, everything as far as Dhoni is concerned will depend on the BCCI's retention policy. He has kept it, once again I repeat, he has kept it open ended.
Quite interesting, very interesting news. This is Boya. What are you thinking of the overall strategy of
See,
CSK?
I had heard 3-2. I had heard 3-2. There was also a call whether it's going to be 4-2 or 3-2. But 3-2 is exactly what I've been saying this to you guys for a pretty long time. A couple of other franchises who I'm in conversations with, or I was speaking to, told me 3-2, because people are kind of doing that. And my most interesting call was what happens with Mumbai. What happens with Mumbai if it's 3-2? So if it's 3-2, then you're actually talking about Rohit Sharma, Surya Kumar Yadav, and Jasprit Bumrah. If you want to retain Rohit Sharma, now clearly, if you are retaining these three players, you are talking about close to 35 crores gone. If 35 crores gone, then you are actually left with what, 60, 65, 65 crores maximum. Now, if you are saying that I've got 60, 65 crores, and someone like an Hardik Pandya, if your plan is to get him with RTM, and if Hardik Pandya goes beyond 15 crores, what do you do? Do you let him go? So, what is the call for Mumbai becomes fascinating, because if you retain Jasprit Bumrah, number one retention according to me, number two retention Surya Kumar Yadav according to me, number three retention will be either Rohit Sharma or Hardik Pandya. Chances are at this point in time Rohit Sharma, because of the leadership value, brand value, business value, Indian captain, all of that taken together, or Hardik, whoever, the player that you leave, Gargi, that player, and you decide, okay, I'll go in for an RTM. Now, clearly, you've already spent 35 crores, 15 to 17 on the first one, 10 to 12 on the second one, and 5 to 6 on the third one. If you already spent 35 crores, you are left with 60, 65 crores. Now comes the story. Any other team will break its bank. Take Lucknow. If I was in Sanjeev Goenka's position, I would not retain anybody beyond Mayank Yadav and Nicholas Puran. Nicholas Puran is hot property in T20 cricket, and Mayank Yadav has the future to be a and has the chance to be a future star for India. Other than that, don't retain anyone. Somebody like a Marcus Stoinis, put him in the auction, get him back in RTF, because 3 years is a pretty long time. You would spend maximum 5, 6, 7 crores, and you might get him back. Same with Ravi Bishnoi. Same with KL Rahul. Because if you break the bank for KL Rahul 20 crores, then your economics go in for a toss. So clearly, the moment people will see who Mumbai is retaining and who they are putting into the auction for RTM, the whole thing opens up, and it makes the whole deal very, very interesting.
It certainly does. It certainly does. I think we can go back to talking about the match now. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So we do have a lot of questions on, of course, Rishabh Pant and Shubman Gill and the way that they batted today. Priyajit, uh, Priyajit is actually highlighting Yashaswi Jaiswal. He's saying, "I'm sorry, I'm worrying about Jaiswal, how he got out in both innings, because we saw that against short ball. His short ball is his weakness, and in Australia, how will he face Stark Cummins?" Shomik, do you think this is a cause of concern?
I don't want to read too much into that. I mean, not many. I mean, see, there is not a single player he is in world cricket who likes to face short ball. Some players played better than the rest. So that is the difference. But Yashasvi Jaiswal, the man who has been scoring such lorry load of runs. And I told you about the net session 2 days before the start of the match, how he had been struggling against the Indian bowlers at the net. Then he came back and on a in challenging conditions on the first day pitch against the new ball, he gritted it out to score a half century. I mean, see, if you are batting at some point of time, you will get out. There is no harm in that. But then again, something I don't like to say. Yashasvi Jaiswal has a. There are certain players like Shreya Shayer who has a visible weakness against the short ball. Sarfaraz Khan also, but I don't think Yashasvi, whatever weaknesses he has, he it is manageable. He will, yeah, and he is a very smart cricketer. He will manage.
Yeah. Tanmay Saha here is saying, he's talking about Dhoni. He's saying Dhoni will play one more year after 2025 because the final will be played in Eden Gardens next year. Spec- I don't even know. Maybe could be. We don't know that.
See, Dhoni has a mind of his own. Dhoni has a mind of his own. Nobody knows he will do, but he wants to go on a high. That's it.
Yeah, totally. Um, Apratim Roy, Boria, is saying Kohli is having poor form again. Do you think two innings
Yeah, yeah.
of poor
No, I
form?
mean, and that too in the second innings, I always go with how a player is looking when he's batting. Virat Kohli looked splendid at the start of his second innings. That first shot was like trademark Virat Kohli, beautiful shot for a boundary. That flick was like royal, regal flick. And then that way he got out, he should have taken the review. All of us have seen. Way too early to say Virat Kohli is not in form or poor form. No. Uh, uh, I was much more interested in watching Shubman Gill today. I said it yesterday. It's absolute time Shubman Gill delivered. He did today. Shubman Gill in second innings is much better than Shubman Gill in the first innings. That is now historically proven. But he has to get much better in the first innings of multiple test matches. So we would want to see him translate this into first innings form also. I had written at the start of the test match, I'm keen to see Rishabh Pant. Rishabh Pant was splendid. This guy is India's biggest USP player. He is India's trademark superstar as far as red ball cricket is concerned. By far a generational talent. He will be the differentiator between India and many teams. Rishabh Pant going forward, even in the Australia series, lateral shots, movement there, except in England, where I found him, somewhat suspect against the moving ball. In any other condition where, there's bounce, Rishabh Pant is a killer. He's an absolute rock star, Rishabh Pant. So Shubman Gill, Rishabh Pant getting runs was the best thing for India. And the other thing was KL Rahul's fielding. Clearly, his wicket keeping has rubbed off on his fielding, and the kind of catches KL Rahul is taking, that front dive to pick up that Mushfiqur Rahim catch was splendid. So overall, a good day for India. Even when Bangladesh was putting partnerships together, Gargi, India did not sort of, at any point in time, they were still very relaxed. They knew a mistake will happen, a mistake will come. 500 runs to play with. So just persist, 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 and you will win this match. I think Bangladesh will be all out for somewhere around 300. India will win by 200 plus runs tomorrow. And this match is done. Bangladesh also needed to show some spine so that they take something into the test match. If they were bowled out for 200, they would not do that.
And Priyaji Das, actually, we have a interesting. Before we get back to cricket, we have an interesting chess Olympiad question here. Where did it go? Where did it go? Okay, Gautam here is asking: is it true or not that Vladimir Kramnik's complaint against India over cell phone use in chess Olympiad?
Yeah, I just got it clarified. It is not against India. It is not against the Indian players, Gautam. It is against Chessbase India recording the Indian players with a cell phone. So it's not also against Chessbase India. It is about why the organizers allowed cell phones there to be used to record the Indian players. So he's not accusing either the Indian players or Chessbase India of some form of wrongdoing. He's not doing that. As the coach of Uzbekistan, he's very much within rights to question when there is no cell phone usage being permitted. How is it that these guys are recording the Indian players with cell phones? So that is the complaint, and that is what Vladimir Kramnik has pointed out. I don't think he's accusing any Indian player remotely of any kind of wrongdoing. Yeah,
Okay.
and he's asked FIDE to ensure nobody is allowed to sort of use a cell phone there and do any kind of filming. That's what it is. So I don't think we have to represent the question correctly. The question at this point in time reflects your question the way you asked, that there might be, he's implying some kind of wrongdoing on the part of the Indians. That is not the case, and we can clarify that.
Shomik, if you can talk about this moment from today's match, Bangladesh fielding being set by Rishabh Pant. Absolutely hilarious, and they dream to beat India in the test.
So see, Bangladesh fielding have, I mean, they need to improve. On a serious note, they need to improve their fielding. Even in Pakistan, where they won 2-0, some dollies were dropped in the state order. And today, Rishabh Pant, the charmed life they gave him on 72, Shantu, and Shantu is the captain. You expect a skipper to immediately come, and he was another sitter, and he dropped him. And once he dropped him, I mean, we are talking that we are chatting in the press box that Rishabh Pant will go and score 100. And also the big, I like, apart from that slip up or that I mean that shot, that skyer, I would say the way Rishabh batted today, he didn't try to, until towards, as the game meandered along towards lunch, and when the declaration was on, when he, when he assumed that the declaration would be coming sooner rather than later, he didn't try to manufacture shots. The first shot of real aggression he played, or the first shot of real innovation he played, was a ram against Hassan Mahmood for a six. And then after that drop catch, he went along. It is very good news for Indian cricket that Rishabh has straight away gotten into the Test group. After coming back to the Test board after a gap of 629 days, it's never easy. It's the hardest format of the game. So Rishabh straight away getting into the Test group, excellent news for India, and he would be central to India's plans. And if India to win down under, Rishabh will be at his top pedal.
Gloria, yesterday you brought up Rishabh Pant, his comeback, and today, this innings was incredible from him, and especially that one-handed six that we also missed. So this Rishabh Pant is truly back and feeling setting the field for
No,
Bangladesh as well.
I got to tell you this. I mean, I will write a piece tonight on this. Uh, One second. Uh, 2019 World Cup, India had lost against New Zealand. Rishabh Pant was being taken to the cleaners by everybody, and he had hit that shot to mid wicket. I was actually sitting in the gallery, just trying my luck coming out of the press box to see if India could sort of try and win. Rishabh had gotten out, and we were going for everybody was going for Rishabh Pant. That evening, there was doom and gloom everywhere. Disappointed, everybody upset. Saurav Ganguly and I were having dinner at a Manchester restaurant. I can tell you the name also, Ziva Grill, some Indian food. And Saurav Ganguly all of a sudden from nowhere tells me that Rishabh Pant will be your next biggest star in Test cricket for the next 10 years. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And he said, I'm telling you, you can write this. I said, if I write it today, people will just take me to the cleaners. What are you talking about? Rishabh Pant is the one who's being criticized for. Because I'm telling you, Rishabh Pant will be your next biggest star after maybe Virat Kohli in Test match cricket in the next 10 years. Today, I was sitting and thinking there is something that these guys know. Whether it's a Tendulkar or a Ganguly, and look at Rishabh Pant today. That innings, the fact that if you were giving India 30% chance in Australia, 30-70, because of Rishabh Pant, you make it 45-55. Because if he's there for 1 hour, all he needs is 1 hour of good batting in a Melbourne wicket or an Adelaide wicket, he'll get you 70, 80 runs. He'll go over third man, he'll go over point, he'll try and pull the ball, he'll take Nathan Lyon on, he will go after any bowler. And look at the kind of maturity of that man. First innings 40, second innings 100 plus. Look at his average, already close to 50 in Test cricket, 600s already. I think the best wicketkeeper batsman in red ball cricket of this generation. And I wouldn't be wrong if I say the greatest Indian test match batsman, wicketkeeper test match batsman. I will rate him ahead of MS Dhoni because MS Dhoni in Australian conditions, in English conditions, in South African conditions, Rishabh Pant has got hundreds and has got match winning efforts. If you think of the 290s last series in Australia, if you think of the 100 in South Africa, I would say Rishabh Pant is India's greatest wicketkeeper batsman in red ball cricket. And white ball, MS Dhoni, no doubt. But in red ball cricket, I think it's Rishabh Pant, no one else.
Absolutely, and Gargi, I would like to add a little more. I mean, a lot of credit goes to Ravi Shastri in the sense, I mean, the transformation of Rishabh Pant happened from the 2021 Australia series, followed by the home series against England. Rishabh, before that series, went to the camp overweight. Shastri managed him brilliantly with, with a carrot and stick approach. And I mean, a, a clear vision was presented in front of Rishabh that you have this talent. Do you want to waste it or do you want to make full use of it? Luckily, thankfully for Indian cricket, Rishabh chose the latter. Sorry.
Yeah. More questions. sports fan is asking, "Hi guys, can we call Shubman as second innings Shubman? Clearly, he finds batting in second innings more easier than first innings, where he averages in 30s."
Exactly what we said, and we don't want that, because in many situations you will not get this opportunity where your team is 220 ahead and there is no pressure. There will be enormous amount of pressure on multiple occasions on you, where your first innings failure might cost your team a match. So Shubman Gill will have to be much more, what do I say, he has to apply himself more. Today's innings was class. Look at some of his shots, but not, to not sort of be able to do it more consistently in the first innings could well come to hurt India. So you want this to translate into first innings runs also. That's why the number three position is so very important. In Australian conditions, Cummins, Hazelwood, Stark, when you have those kind of bowlers operating with four slips, don't always depend on second innings runs. You might not get them. India will not have a lead. India will not have a lead in most cases, because clearly Australia will start favourites. However much Mohammad Shami wants to differ, it is Australian home conditions. India will challenge, because we are the only team that will challenge Australia. But Shubman Gill will have to do much more in the first innings as well. So while we joke about his second innings runs, the first innings box tick has to happen. I hope he continues this form into the second test match and gets that done.
Absolutely. We want to see more runs from Shubman in the first innings. Krishnendu has asked something in Bengali. I hope it's not a troll comment because I
No,
can't
no,
read what.
Molina Hatao, Mohun Bagan Bachao. No, boss. No, not at all. Yesterday we addressed this question. Carl Squadrat Hatao, East Bengal. Mohun Molina Hatao, Mohun Bagan. Way too early. Way too early. আজকে যদি গৌতম গম্ভীর হেরে যায় দুটো টেস্ট ম্যাচ, আপনি বলবেন গৌতম গম্ভীর হাঁটাও, কালকে বলবেন রোহিত শর্মা হাঁটাও। আরে এরকম ভাবে হয় নাকি? মানে হাঁটিয়ে দেবেন কি? আপনি তো মলিনাকে এনেছেন। এখনো অব্দি কোন টুর্নামেন্ট হয়েছে? ডুরান্ড কাপ, সেটার ফাইনালে উঠেছে মোহনবাগান। সেটার ফাইনালে দু বলে জিতছিল, টাই ব্রেকারে হেরে গেছে। আইএসএল এ একটা খেলা খেলেছে 2-2, হারেনি। রাফসানের এগেনস্টে এএফসি এশিয়ান চ্যাম্পিয়ন্স লিগে হারেনি। আপনি কি বেসিসে হাঁটাও বলছেন আমাকে একটু বোঝান না। হাঁটাও কেন? কিসের কি করেছে মলিনা যে আপনি তাকে হাঁটিয়ে দেবেন? মানে এরকম ভাবে তো কোচ পাল্টে দিলে তো কালকে আরেকটা কোচ, পরশুদিন আরেকটা কোচ, এরকম গল্প হয়ে যাবে। কেউ হাঁটাচ্ছে না, এবং মোহনবাগান ক্লাব হাঁটাবার চিন্তাও করছে না। মাথা থেকে এটুকু ঝেড়ে ফেলে দিন, মলিনাকে হাঁটাবার কোনো সমূহ সম্ভাবনা অন্তত নেই ইন দ্য নেক্সট সেভারাল মান্থস। সো এটা আপনি শান্তি মনে মেনে নিন।
Yes, I second that. Uh,
Brilliant. Gandhi seconds that.
I didn't understand it. Yes.
This is what you should be like. এরকম থাকবে তুমি।
Okay, Shubham Sharma. Maybe we can take the final
Anything,
two.
anything about Mohun Bagan brings smile to me. Anything about Mohun Bagan.
Gandhi, you take this question first. You answer this one first. Let's all of us take it.
This one, Shubham Sharma. Australia is very much beatable this time. They are also aging and vulnerable side. Want India to win PGT and England Test series. I think that the squad that India has is very, very incredible. I think I'm not even focusing on Australia at this moment, because you look at the Indian squad and you realize that the players are doing very well. This is, if you're going to judge them on the basis of two innings, then that won't be fair. But the players that we have right now and the lineup that we have, I very much believe that they can beat Australia, if not easily, but they can beat Australia very much. Like you said, Australia is very beatable.
You know, I slightly think it will not be that easy. I mean, Australia this time round, with their four-pronged pace attack, this Indian side is also aging. I don't think Virat Kohli is the same Virat Kohli between that he was between 2016 and 2019. No, that kind of consistency is not there. Rohit Sharma, is he the same player in Test match cricket? We have to see. There is no Cheteshwar Pujara at number 3. Cheteshwar Pujara was the glue in the last two series who won you that series. So that is why I was so harping on Rishabh Pant making a comeback, because Rishabh Pant is critical. Ravindra Jadeja, yes, so we've got that covered. But who's your middle order? KL Rahul is critical to be informed. I mean, even the Indian batting doesn't look that sort of That's strong because Cheteshwar Pujara, if you take him out of the last two Australia series, immediately there is a massive impact made. So I don't think Australia will be any light in terms of an opposition. I would say they go in as favorites 55-45, but it will be a hard fought series. And I would want India to compete in all the test matches because Australia versus India in Australia has become cricket's go to contest. It's tremendous to see if you are at the ground. Australia is the place to watch test cricket. Brilliant grounds, great crowd, packed MCG, packed SCG. I can't wait for that particular series.
Yeah. Ayush Jindal is
Hey,
asking
Soumya,
for
got
any DC
anything? Any
updates.
thoughts? Arey, DC updates. Ayush Jindal, bhai, somebody give him DC update there.
But he's also asking about Vikesh versus Wei. क्या ही मैच
Yes,
था.
yes, and Ayush, what an incredible match that was. But more importantly, India versus US tonight. Can India hold on against the United States when the pressure is now going to mount? The last few rounds, can we get the gold as far as the men are concerned? Can our women medal in the chess Olympiad? Ayush, let's get that done. It will be historic if we get the medal when the men win the gold. We have the talent, no question. Rag, Gukesh, and Arjun, incredible 1, 2, 3. And Arjun playing in the third board has been an absolute masterstroke from India because your highest ranked player, 27-76, playing on the third board and not traditionally in the first board. Prag and Gukesh and then Arjun, and that tells you about the depth of Indian chess. Absolutely massive. So that's something I'm looking forward to. Look at our coverage because we will get you maximum chess coverage with the next few days in the offing and the test match continues. Shomik, test match over tomorrow for sure. Tea time, lunch
Yes,
time.
yes.
What is your
With
thought?
I mean, weather permitting, it should be over in the first session. I don't know how if the weather will hold tomorrow, but weather permitting, it should be over by lunch tomorrow.
All right.
Okay, Rohan
And
is saying lunch is fresh हो गया. Shomik, you should go and take a plunge in the sea. And he's also asking for the video to be sent to him. This is off camera. But
okay.
definitely go and have that chai in that Dhoni favorite tea stall.
Dhoni's favorite tea stall.
Okay, we can take the final few comments and close this show. I was seeing an interesting comment here. Where did it go? Priyanshu. It was from Priyanshu. Huh. Both Australia and India have fantastic bowling. Series will be decided on who bats less bad.
I partly agree. I partly agree with that.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I think India at this point in time is as suspect as Australia. That's why I'm rating Australia as slight ahead and slight favorites. We need our big boys to start performing, but that consistency I've not seen yet. We are all talking about that consistency from Virat and Rohit. We would need them to be in sublime form.
Final comment. Boryata, why no big
I
names
think the
of
series
Indian
would be
batsmen?
decided. I think the
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think the series would be decided. So, okay, shall I go? I mean, I think the series would be decided by two players. One is one is Jasprit Bumrah, another one is Rishabh Pant. If in five tests Bumrah has 25 wickets and Rishabh Pant scores more than 400 runs, for example, India will win the series. It would be a very tough contest, and it's always 50-50. You cannot count out Steve Smith, Marnus Labuschagne, and the likes of the Australian pace trio, Nathan Lyon. So you have to, and also you have to consider the fact that they would be playing in Kokabura, which is different from the SG ball or the Duke's ball. A Kokabura does nothing after 20-25 overs, but that first 20-25 overs are very crucial. So the way, I mean, I think these two players that we have mentioned, Bumrah and Rishabh, they would be central to India's. I mean, whatever India is going to achieve, they would be at the, they should, they will have to be the bedrock of it.
Very fair point made. Very fair point made by Shomik, and the Kukapura is going to be a factor for sure. But now, if you see, the Indians know that, and the Indians will be ready because that fear of Australia is not there. This is a different Indian side, and India will be competitive. Make no mistake, the Indians will be competitive, and they'll also start to push Australia. There'll be huge Indian support. There'll be huge Indian support. Perth, plenty of support. Melbourne, Sydney, obviously, even in Adelaide. So India will not lack in support in Australia at all. So all said and done, it will be one heck of a series.
Yeah. And final comment before we close the show, Priyanshu is asking Boryada, why no big names of Indian badminton playing in China Open? Who are the next badminton players?
Yeah, and this is a question that I've been asking, and they will resume from October. So they wanted a kind of a break because of some injury-related concerns, some rest, some recovery, and all of that. Satvik and Chirag will get a new coach, possibly a Malaysian or an Indonesian coach, replacing Matthias Boy. But it will happen by early October. At this point in time, Arun Vishnu, Manu, these guys are looking after them. The Sai authorities had a meeting with Gopichand along with the BI authorities. They've now drawn up a plan so that Indian players can train together and individuals don't sort of plan their own training schedule and start playing in tournaments without people knowing, which is what they thought went wrong during the Olympic cycle. They have identified players. So among women, Anmol Kharab, Malavika Bansod, Akarshi Kashyap, Asmita Chalia. So these are the four who are being picked. Among male players, it is Lakshya Sen. They still want HS Prannoy to play for a couple more years because they think he has it in him. Of course, Priyanshu Rajawat. So and Kiran George has also given us some good results. So the male singles part is quite strong, but women after Sindhu is a void and Saina. So that's where these Anmol Kharabs, Ashmita Chalia, Malavika Bansods of the world will have to come good. Malavika had a good China Open where she upset a couple of players and lost to Akane Yamaguchi yesterday in the quarterfinals. As far as men's doubles is concerned, Satvik and Chirag still have at least 3-4 years. So till LA, you have to give, and with sports science, there is absolutely no reason why they won't be around. Mixed and women's, Gayatri and Triza have had good and bad results, so they are going to be there. Tanisha, with Ashwini not there, will have to sort of get her groove back and start again. So what they are planning is they are actually working on, from what I know from Gopi and from my Sai conversations and other conversations, they are now wanting a clear supply line as far as badminton is concerned, so that for LA they want multiple Indian players in the top 40, so that you can put more and more bodies on the line. And after Sindhu blank, that situation should not happen as far as Indian badminton is concerned. That's the overarching plan, and that is where Sai and BI will work towards in consultation with the head coach. But that plan is certainly on.
That's quite interesting to see that all these changes are being made to ensure that what happened in this Olympics doesn't happen again. But thank you so much, Shomik and Boria. I believe it's raining over there, so we need to let Shomik go before he gets drenched in the rain. And to everyone who's watching, thank you so much. Boria, are you saying something? Do you want to say something?
No. Rohan is making fun of you, saying Gargi is saying drenched in the rain.
Why? I'll talk
Where
to
is
him
that?
off camera.
He's saying where is that kind of rain?
If he stands long enough, he'll get drenched, no? Am I right or wrong, Shomik?
But more than the rain, I have to rush. More than the rain, I have to rush to file that 6 p.m. copy.
Diplomatically answered. So thank you everyone for joining, and to everyone who's watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to